Thank you, CalMage. All right. Wait. Okay, so these. All right, I mute these. Get muted. Get muted. Okay, there should be no background music. Right? No background music? Oh, well, there was, apparently. Huh? I'm just asking the chat. I'm checking the chat. Okay. Hand wants me to scream.
Yeah, hold on. I'll listen.
All right. Thank you, CalMage. All right. Hello, everybody. Nice music well listed. Yeah, CalMage has a very different music selection from me, I believe. Because he's got it set so that he plays copyrighted music during the stream, but then in the VOD, it's non-copyrighted music, which is pretty cool.
Use your computer.
What do you mean? What do you want to do?
I can't hear anything.
It should be playing. Did you turn off the sound? I think you did. You turned it off.
Oh, I turned it off.
Off the headset. All right.
Okay, yeah, there's no sound.
There's no sound. All right.
No music.
No music. Nice. Perfect. That's just what I want. Okay, so first I'm going to scream for hand, and then we are going to do ASMR, okay? So right now, there is no ASMR happening. If you join for ASMR, you will be getting a scream. But then after that, we will do ASMR, okay? Okay. Hand, I hope you're listening. So is it, do you want me to just scream as loud as I can, or do you want me to have, like, drama scream of being murdered?
The redeem says scream ad parentheses getting murdered.
Okay.
So scream like you're getting murdered.
Okay.
So everybody on this planet can hear it.
Okay, got it.
That sounded so bad on the mic. Oh my gosh.
Like the microphone didn't pick it up well?
No, it picked it up. It just
It sounded like I was actually getting murdered?
So I have it set out so like you can't max out the volume, but I think you still did somehow.
Oh, so like it cut out?
No, it still played. It just I forget what the sound or the word is.
Like it spiked?
Whatever. Anyway, that was terrible.
Well, I hope that's what you wanted, Han. Scream is just ASMR Deluxe. Oh no. All right, so it is now ASMR time. We're doing the nice ASMR.
Babe, you got the microphone facing sideways, so it's always going to sound like it's coming out of a different ear.
Oh, should I do it head on?
Facing you directly if you want to actually do ASMR.
All right,
yeah.
Like this. Okay, I didn't know that it was directional. Yeah. Okay, thank you. I love you.
It is directional. Oh, that sounded pretty nice.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to shut up. You guys enjoy.
Okay, thank you. It was even better with headphones. Nice. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining my very first ASMR stream. I've never done this before. And I don't really know what I'm doing. But here we go. I think that you whisper a lot. I'm happy that I managed. That wasn't even me screaming at the top of my lungs. That was just me screaming how I thought a murdered person would scream. So, yeah.
The microphone is very sensitive. You got to be very close to it if you're going to whisper.
Oh.
You can't be that far away. It's not like your mic. You got to be really close.
Okay. So just like this.
Yeah.
Is that better? Okay.
Yeah, like that.
Wow. Okay. All right. I have here a bunch of books. A very large select. Oh, darn it! I meant to bring in a huge selection of books, but it turns out I only brought in about 50. I brought in my entire Warrior Cats collection because I read a lot of Warrior Cats as a kid. It was like my favorite book series growing up. I have here book 1, Into the Wild. So I'm just gonna thumb through it real quick.
You could hear Nahida like doing her little scribble in the back.
Thank you, CalMage. We're gonna turn some pages. you guys read books, you never dog-ear the corners. Because that's really bad for the book. And also make sure that you use proper bookmarks. And don't stick like forks and stuff in the books like how I did as a kid. Because that's not...
Stuck forks.
Calvin, please. Yes, when you are reading and you need to stop and you just grab whatever's closest. Like this mouse. I'm gonna take this mouse. That's a bookmark. So don't do that, kids. Use actual bookmarks. Or flat things like pieces of paper or credit cards. The dog-earing count sounded threatening. If you dog-ear your books, I will come into your house and shoot you. This is a threat. How is the paper churning sound? Is it coming across? If you take good care of your books, they can last quite a long time. This one that I'm holding right now, Into the Wild, book 1, is a paperback book, and it is very well loved. The spine has a wrinkle right down the middle of the back, because I read it so many times, and I know in like high school and stuff with books I didn't really care about, I would open them up all the way. They were like super fat paperback books, and that would definitely, I think one of them ended up breaking in half, because paperback books, especially the thicker ones, you shouldn't really open all of the way. You always don't lay them flat across the table. That's bad for them. How much does I need to keep talking? Books. So if you guys have any book recommendations, please tell me what your favorite books were growing up. Let me zoom up a little bit. I'm a little far away. There we go. For me, it was fantasy books. I started getting into sci-fi at one point, but for the most part, I still really enjoy fantasy books. I could read excerpts from these books, perhaps the back of the book. If you guys aren't familiar. Oh, the Hardy Boys. Yeah. The Hardy Boys and their counterpart, Nancy Drew. I think they had a crossover book at one point. But yeah, I only read a couple Hardy Boys books. But from what I understood, they were very similar to Nancy Drew books, and I read a lot of Nancy Drew books growing up. I had quite a large Nancy Drew collection. I think I kind of stopped liking Nancy Drew, though, because they're always very predictable plot lines, even if the actual mysteries themselves are very different. Hunches are never wrong. There's always a shady person loitering around who ends up being the bad guy. And they were just too mundane and not predictable. They were very predictable books, I guess. Once I started reading stuff like Sherlock Holmes, I was like, oh my gosh, why? Because it's a lot harder to predict Sherlock Holmes things, because they don't give you as much information. They don't handhold you with clues. You have to actually use your brain instead of thinking, oh, this mysterious person who told Nancy Drew to stop snooping around is the murderer. Who could have possibly guessed? Certainly not I. But yeah, all I really remember about the Hardy Boys was there was a book where their sidekick gets like hypnotized to flap like a chicken once he gets to a certain location. And then I think most of the mystery ended up centering around hypnotism or something like that. I don't know, that's the only bit that stuck in my head. Usually read various fairy tales when I was little. Yo, fairy tales are really hardcore. Like, oh my gosh, especially some of the older ones are like really, really violent. Like, Disneyfication is real, you guys. Fairy tales have been very toned down, especially compared to how they were in the beginning, where like, little kids were wandering around and getting murdered and stuff. Very, very violent. Also, Jack. There was like some guy named Jack who was in every single fairy tale, and like, I think like it wasn't even the same guy. I think it's just like your generic, everyman, stereotypical peasant person to show that fairy tales happen to even the common people. I don't know. He was always doing crazy things like outdancing the devil and killing 7 giants in one blow, except it's actually flies and stuff like that. I don't know. There's all sorts of, and like if you think of them about them, like a lot of the times they don't make a lot of logical sense, like just in why people do what they do. But that's just me. Like you try to make a movie out of it, and people would be very critical of them, I bet. Yo, and in the Willows. Okay, that is a book I read a very long time ago. I actually don't remember most of it. It's very dreamlike in my memory. I know the gist of it, right? I know that you have Mole and Ferret. I don't remember who his friend is, but I think the main character is Mole. And then there's Mr. Toad. And like, the first half of the book is super different from the second half, because the first half is just like this idyllic cottagecore, hyper chill countryside snoozy time. And then the second half is Mr. Toad out in the city being cray cray. And it's just such a strong difference between the two halves of the book. I don't know. I haven't read that book in a really, 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 really long time. I should probably reread it at some point, but that's just what I remember. Is the first half is very dreamlike and gentle, cozy. Is it not cottagecore? I don't know. And like Mole even like says at one point that like he moved in with this other guy, and yeah, he realizes at one point that like he hasn't been back to his home in like literal months, and he hasn't even thought of his home in literal months. If that's not like some sort of dream like Fae abduction, I don't know what is. I think that's the point. You can't understand whatever's lurking out there. It reminds me a little bit of like the Shire in the Lord of the Rings, I guess. They have the same sort of like super countryside. Oh, what was it? This is completely unrelated. Who was the Beatrix Potter? The lady who wrote the Peter Rabbit books. I feel like a lot of her stories are like set in that same sort of countryside setting. But that might be because as a kid I had a VHS tape that had like a whole ton of stories written by Beatrix Potter that they had made into little animations. And at the very beginning of the story, they would have this actress portraying Beatrix Potter, and she would like go out to the countryside and she would paint the illustrations that would then end up going in the books. And it was all very, countryside, Shire-like, Wind in the Willows, cottagecore aesthetic. So I kind of associate the Beatrix Potter books with the Shire, and also with like the Wind in the Willows, I guess. And also because, a lot of those Beatrix Potter books were like really messed up when you stop to think about it. Like, I remember there was a story about like some goose or something who wanted to make a family of her own, and she like went out and like left the farm, and because the farmer kept taking her eggs, and she like found this fox, and the fox is like, you can stay in my attic, and so she was like staying in the fox's attic, and she would go soonish ending where like the farm dog notices that the goose keeps disappearing and he follows her and he sees her go into like the fox's house. And so like when she's gone he like beats up the fox or something. And so like he saves her life, but the fox gets the eggs in the end. So it's like that's also kind of scary if you think about it. Like if that happened in real life, like it's not just geese and eggs. Like I don't know, a lot of potential for scary happenings. Buddhist style, hello. Welcome on in. I hope you're having a good one. I'm just gonna click this. Calmage, please. This is an ASMR stream. I love you. And yay. But yeah, please tell me your favorite book picks. And I will comment on them. But for now, I'm gonna stop talking for a bit, and we're gonna go back to the book. So that was a paperback book that I had before. I'm gonna do a hardcover book now.
It's not picking that up at all.
Okay. Just saw we got a raid. Hello, Churro Expedition Go. Welcome on in. Thank you so much for the raid. I don't normally do ASMR streams, so this is very, I'm in unfamiliar waters at the moment. So, welcome on in. My name is Neb. I'm a family-friendly SaveWorks streamer. I play a lot of violent video games like Warframe. I've played some Genshin Impact in the past. I did a very successful subathon, and during the subathon they had all sorts of crazy goals on there that we met, one of which was an ASMR stream. So this is not my usual fare, but I'm doing a book ASMR stream. We're going to be flipping pages in books and talking about books today. But thank you so much for the raid. Could we have a shout out? Oh, Crunchy Kronk did it. Thank you, Crunchy Kronk. I appreciate that.
Wait, it's Churro?
It is Churro Expedition Company. Welcome on in. You might hear Calmage in the background. You might not hear him. I don't know.
I know Churro. Hello.
us what your favorite thing about Churro is. What is so cool about Churro? Why should everybody drop what they're doing and go drop him a follow right this second? Let's go. I will be ignoring. Yes, most redeems are turned off, I think. There are some redeems that are not turned off that I will look at in a bit. I am not looking at the redeems right now. I will not be ignoring messages. I'll try not to, but yes. Just started playing it, but it's sweet. Nice, nice, nice. I hope that you have fun with it in the future. I'm gonna scroll up and read the messages that I missed while I was doing all the page turning. Cringy Crunk says, you're gonna head out because ASMR makes you super sketched out. Alright, I'm not gonna make you stay. Thank you for supporting the stream. Take care. Have a good fun time in the Nebulux. Is your model different? I am using different. Kelmage has different settings on his computer for some reason, so it looks different. The shading is different. The model is the same, I think. It's just the lighting. But yes, the lighting is different. Frixty wants a meow. Alright, so this is not going to be whispered, so watch out. Meow. There we go. Hello to Trekkie. Welcome on in. Cringy Crunk also wants a meow. There you go. Got some meows. Let's see here. What did I miss? But yeah, thank you very much for the raid, Churro. I really appreciate it. Oh, and King Yen Sala. Welcome on in, King. Yes, yes, I know you. You're from Pitoni's. Let's go. Hello to Speed. Welcome on in. Churro's a chill variety streamer. Alright, let's go. Heck yeah, I guess I'm a variety streamer nowadays. The orb guy is nuts. What book are you reading? So I'm not actually reading a book out loud to you guys. I'm talking about books, and then I have physical books here that I'm going to be making book noises with. All sorts of book noises. But I was mainly talking, the books that I have here are my Warrior Cat series. I was probably, if nobody had any books that they wanted to talk about, I was going to go through one by one and give you my thoughts and opinions on them. Which ones were the best, which ones are the worst. Stuff like that. Good night and God bless. Alright, take care, Cringy Crunk. Have a good one. Alright, but yeah, I'm going to go back to making some book noises. And yes, if you guys say anything, I will be sure to see it when I'm done making book noises. Alright, I'm also going to really quickly check the redeems and see if anybody has done any more redeems that I should know about. I'll be right back. Alright, have a good night, Fern. What was that? Thank you. Many thanks. Tro dropped a follow. Thank you, Tro, for the follow. Alerts are turned off at the moment, but thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. Let's see, we got a meow, which I did. Shout out to Frixty. Hello, welcome on in. Welcome. Thank you, VX10 Rick, for the 10 bits. I didn't notice those. I appreciate it. Alright, I think we are all caught up now. Alright, nice. Alright, cool. We're gonna go back to book noises. Alright, book noise time. The book that I am making book noises with is Warriors Super Edition Tall Stars Revenge by Aaron Hunter. The super editions for the Warrior Cats books were kind of standalone ones. Usually the Warrior Cats books had series of 6 books per series, and then each series would focus on a different topic. But the super editions were ones that were not part of those 6 book packs. So this one takes place before the events of book number 1. It's a prequel talking about one of the universe and his history and past. This is actually the only Warrior Cats book in my collection that I have not read. I have read all of them except for this one. I just haven't gotten around to doing it. Alright. I think of the super editions. Let's see, there's Firestar's Quest, Blue Star's Prophecy, SkyClan's Destiny, Crooked Star's Promise, Yellowfang's Secret, and Tall Star's Revenge that I own. Of those, I think I like Crooked Star's Promise the best. It was really dark and it really highlighted how Crooked Star was just a really great individual fighting against evil, despite all of the circumstances surrounding him. Anyway, it's time to make some book noises. Let's go. But first, chair noises. guys can hear him, don't pay it any mind. Let's see here. Literally just beating up the book at this point. Hello there, Squirrelage. Welcome on in. Did it really sound like that? Oh, yikers. RPG Rooster, hello, welcome on in. It's just Neb beating things upstream. Oh, heck yeah, you better believe it. We're gonna beat up all sorts of things, but not Calmage. Is it a hardcover book? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is specifically a Warrior Cats book. It is. They have a very large Warrior Cats collection that was Tall Stars Revenge by Aaron Hunter. It was a super edition of the Warrior Cats. I was really big into them when I was a kid. Apparently they are still ongoing, but I have not read them in a long time. I haven't read them since. Let me see. What was the name of that series? Let me go take a look at it. I'll be right back. The Omen of the Stars. So there's a bunch of different series. The first series didn't have a name, I don't think. The second series was, I think, The New Prophecy. The third series was The Power of Three, and the fourth series was called Omen of the Stars. I was kind of disappointed in the ending of Omen of the Stars. I thought it was a very anticlimactic and sudden ending to a arc that had been built up for so long. And I was very disappointed in it. So when I heard about the next series that was coming out, which was about a prequel series, I'm like, I don't care about this. Clearly they're done with the main storyline, and now they're pursuing other storylines that have nothing to do with the main storyline. I thought the main storyline, like the people that we had followed up until that point, was done and over. But apparently after the prequel series, they made another one about the main storyline. But yeah, I didn't know that, and I kind of did not follow it after they finished the Omen of the Stars series. So all the books I have from Warrior Cats are pre-Omen of the Stars finale. But I do have a lot of those books. I have a lot of their graphic novels, like their manga style comics. I have a bunch of their guidebooks, like Secrets of the Clans and Code of the Clans and stuff like that. I have all the super editions that came out before the Omen of the Stars finale. And yeah, growing up, the first book of the first series, Into the Wild, that was definitely my favorite book, like, ever growing up. I was huge into Warrior Cats. I loved that book so much. Yeah, nowadays, I still like them, but especially Series 3, The Power of 3, that very much was a filler series. I feel like you could just, like, read one book of that and then skip the rest, because, like, literally nothing happens. It feels like everything is just, you can make a cliff notes of what happens in that series and then just skip straight to the Omen of the Stars series, and you won't miss anything. And in the second series, I had a really hard time liking the characters as much as the characters in the first series, but, like, it was still a compelling storyline. I really liked the Omen of the Stars series. That one was pretty good. It was way better than the Power of 3 series. But yeah, like I said, the very grand finale, the final battle, was very underwhelming. I felt like there was a lot of hype and a lot of build-up, and the build-up had been building for 2 series, basically, at this point. Been building through the Power of 3 series and through the Omen of the Stars series, and I feel like the finale just kind of fell flat on its face. Could have been extended out like half a book or so, and that would have probably benefited it, but it was very rushed, I felt, and I was not happy with that. wanted to just start with book 3, like, I don't think you would really miss out that much. Well, not miss out that much. You wouldn't be confused. There are some books where if you start with like book 3, you're starting in the middle. You're not gonna have any idea what's going on. You're in the middle of an adventure, and you read through book 3, and it ends at a cliffhanger. You're like, I don't know what happened before this. I don't know what's happening now. I don't know what's gonna happen after. It's very much like the middle 20 minutes of a movie. Versus with these books, I feel like they're kind of, the plot lines are self-contained enough that you can pick up one book randomly and read it and put it down and be like, okay, there are some threads that are unresolved, and there were some throwaway lines that I didn't understand, but for the most part, it's a very self-contained book, or at least the ones in the first series are, and I think in the third and fourth series, not the second one, really, because that one was more overarching plot line. I don't know. I can talk about books like all day, every day. What are some of your guys' books that you enjoyed reading, or books that you wished had a movie adaptation, or movie adaptations of books that you liked, or something like that? For the most part, I think that most movie adaptations of books aren't that great, just because there's so much more detail in the books, and the books are often a lot longer than the movies, so it's really, there's a lot of nuance that gets left out of the movies. There are some movies that are an exception. So one movie that I think had a really, really good adaptation from the book is Because of Winn-Dixie. So that's a book about a little girl who moves to a new city, and she finds a dog, and there's like a supermarket called Winn-Dixie, and like the dog is named after the supermarket. So when she introduces like the dog to people, they get really confused because they're like, "Oh, you named the dog after the supermarket?" And she's like, "Ah, he named himself." But that book had a movie adaptation, and I feel like that movie adaptation pretty much took the book and it made it into a script. Like, it follows it point by point, and it's really accurate to the book, and I think it did a really good job. The other movie that came from a book adaptation that is the exact opposite of Because of Winn-Dixie, but is still really good, is, I think, the How to Train Your Dragon movies. And I have grown up reading the How to Train Your Dragon books, and I'm gonna be honest, I think I like the movies more. And the difference between Because of Winn-Dixie and the How to Train Your Dragon books is the How to Train Your Dragon books, literally, the only thing that they took from the books was the name of the characters. And that's it. Literally everything is different. The premise is different. The setting is different. The characters are different. The relationship of Hiccup and Toothless is different. The species of Toothless is different. The dragons are different. The names of the dragons are different. Like, literally, the only thing that is the same between How to Train Your Dragon books and How to Train Your Dragon movies is the names of the characters and the name of the island that they're on, and like the location of the island, right? It's some Viking island named Berg. The hero's name is Hiccup Haddock the Third. Actually, I don't even think his name is Hiccup Haddock the Third in the movies. I think it's just Hiccup. And yeah, there's a guy in the village named Snotlout, and there's a guy in the village named Copper the Belch. No, he's just called Copper in the movies. And his dad is the chief, and his dad's name is Stoic the Vast. Oh, here his name in Triple Ugg Ugg, except it's just Stoic in the movies. So it's like, that's literally the only thing that's the same between the two movies. But despite that, it somehow is really good to the point that I like it more than the movies. because honestly, in the books, Hiccup was just like not as likable as movie Hiccup, even though they basically have the same personality. I don't know. Nobody seems interested in me babbling about How to Train Your Dragon for a while, so I'll drop the subject. But yeah, that is one example of a book to movie conversion that somehow went so right, despite the fact that it strays so far from the source material. Like, oh my gosh, everything is different. Like, even the setting. Like, it's if you try to explain to somebody who's only seen the movie what the books are like, it's wild. Not gonna lie, not a fiction reader at all, so kind of out of my wheelhouse at the moment. That's okay. That's okay. What kind of books do you usually like to read? So, sci-fi or historical dramas, or I don't know. I mainly only read fiction. There is one book recommendation that I have that is like sort of a historical fiction that I like. And that one's the Temeraire series. That one's about excuse me. What if the Napoleonic Wars also had dragons? So it's like this historical novel that's, going over battles and talking about how Napoleon is like sweeping the country and stuff, except also instead of having just infantry and just cavalry and just the navy, they also have the aerial corps that are like riding dragons and stuff. So it's like nobody thinks that they're fantastical or something. It's just like another beast of burden, like horses or something. I don't know. I thought those books were really good. I still haven't finished it. I think I need to read the last book. But I read most of them. They're all really good. Sci-fi. One of my favorite sci-fi books is called Spinward Fringe, Broadcast Zero Origins. Apparently there's a whole series that happens after that book, but I haven't read it. I need to get around to reading the rest of the series, but Spinward Fringe is really good, I think. That's a really good sci-fi book. It really scratches that itch of like what's the setting? It's the people are from a star system. Not a star system, a little outpost that has just kind of been isolated its entire existence. And then they send out a ship for some reason. And the ship goes out and it finds out that the whole rest of the universe has been in like a super huge battle this whole time. And they just didn't know that it was existing because they were so isolated, and their ship is like super top of the line, beyond the technology of any of the other ships out there, but they're like only one ship, and they have to kind of like make their way Star Trek style, exploring while also surviving, while also being like kind of OP. And like all of the characters were recruited because they were caught hacking their government's simulations so they could use them like video games. So the government caught them, and they're like, okay, so you guys have been top scoring on our flight sims. We're kicking you into this ship to go explore. So like the characters were like gamers that were caught doing illegal gaming, and extra layers of relatability. You weren't really a reader at all up until audiobooks. Ooh, audiobooks are good. Kind of cheating as is, but mostly stuff related to faith, based. Started out with catechism, then dabbled in some C.S. Lewis. Also read Augustine. Trying to do some canon law at the moment. Don't point out the obviously missing book. You're good. Don't worry about it. I feel like the obviously missing book is so when I listen to audiobooks personally, I don't know how it is for you, but for me personally, when I listen to audiobooks, it's usually because I'm doing something else and I want background stuff happening. Like I'll be cleaning something, like I'll Sanderson books just while I'm working. And like a lot of Agatha Christie books while I'm working. So it's definitely something that I listen to while I'm doing something else. I don't just like sit down at a desk and turn on an audiobook. So I would say with the book that's obviously missing, that is something that you kind of want to have your whole attention on when you're reading. Because it's something like, to meditate on and soak everything in, which is really hard to do if you're multitasking and you're not focused on it. So yeah, I totally understand that 100%. I ain't calling you out on that. I wouldn't want to read that as an audiobook either, personally. But that's just personally. 1,000%. I've got a 25-minute car ride on the way to get to the nearest worthwhile town. Got to go on music playlist. Realized I can turn it into an educational time. Yo, nice, nice, nice. I also read the Catechism, and I'm reading in canon law in earnest too. No audiobooks for either of those. Alright. Well, nice, nice. Well, hey, that is much more edifying and uplifting and food for brain than the kind of stuff I usually listen to with audiobooks. So hey, mega kudos to you. Mega kudos to you. Yeah, I don't think that's cheating. Not at all. Not at all. C.S. Lewis has got some good stuff, honestly. Like, Galmage mentioned it to me because apparently it's in the Monster Girl, Wholesome Monster Girl Academy book and video game that he really liked. But the Screwtape Letters is definitely a religious themed C.S. Lewis book that I would recommend because it's a good springboard, because it's told in bite-sized, entertaining, recreational reading novel style writing, but at the same time it's also given actually genuinely really good advice and truths. It's not as dense as some of his other works. Like, I don't know, did he write Mere Christianity or was that GK? I think that was him. Oh yeah, Mere Christianity, there you go. Yeah, it's definitely much lighter reading than those books that you mentioned. Definitely lighter reading than those. But I don't know. If people have a hard time focusing on heavier reading, I'd recommend it to them just because, yeah, it's lighter reading while also it's entertaining, but it's also, yeah, has some really good truths in there and like genuinely really good advice and stuff. Problem of Pain was not one for the car ride, by the way. I did not absorb nearly any of that. Oof. I don't like it when I realize that I haven't absorbed stuff and I have to like re-listen to a chapter. It makes me feel very, very ashamed of myself. The Great Divorce, The Problem of Pain, and Mere Christianity were the ones I listened to. Well, at least if you listened to it on the car ride, but you didn't absorb it, at least you know like the bullet points of it, probably. So it's giving you a primer. There you go. You've got a primer for when you actually sit down to read it for realsies. You won't be completely floundering if it's a thicker one. I'll be honest, I have not read The Problem of Pain. So I don't really know what that one's about. But yeah, you won't be you'll be like, oh, okay. Easier to absorb probably if now that you've listened to it once on the back of your mind. I don't know. Have I listened to any? I don't think I've listened to any religious audiobooks, I'm gonna be honest. I'm trying to think. Yeah, you got a leg up on me there. That's pretty cringe. I have not listened to religious audiobooks. I each chapter's about a different saint kind of thing. So I'll go through that and I'll read a chapter about like some saint. Like, yeah, especially since he's new to the faith, relatively speaking. Like, he knows a lot of stuff about what's the word, apologetics and the nitty gritty of the catechism and stuff. But like when it comes to saints, he doesn't really know a lot of them. So yeah, going through them, like Saint Anthony of Padua, right? Like he had no clue who that was. Like we were talking about I mentioned Saint Anthony. He's like, oh, who's that? So I'm like, well, let me pull out this same book and read you about his life story. Or Saint Francis Cabrini, I think, was another one that we read that he hadn't heard of before. Yeah, so helping expand his saint knowledge. Yeah, bond in time. You read to him like bedtime stories. Is that what I heard? That is, in fact, what you heard, Squirrel Lich. It's not every night, but yeah, usually before I head out, I'll read a chapter from some book or something. I know, Marriage Prep, the priest gave us a bunch of books to read, so lately it hasn't been saint stories. Lately it's been chapters from the Marriage Prep books. But yeah, there you go. Now you guys know a secret. You guys up for another round of book noises, or you want to keep talking? I'll leave it up to you guys to decide. It's more like story time at the library, not necessarily at bedtime. Or do you also do it at bedtime? Yes, I do it at bedtime. Yes, I do it at bedtime. I'll usually be sitting down on a chair and he'll be in his bed. Yup, it is at bedtime. Library story time. Stories of the Saints bedtime story. Hongshu. Yup. Trying to think what else I can say about them. Yeah. Yeah, like, we've been trying to say the rosary together more often. So I'll be, after the rosary, before I head out, I'll read a chapter from the same book or from the marriage books. And there you go. There you have it. Alright, I am gonna go do more book noises. I have here a bookmark. We're gonna make some bookmark noises, and then I'm gonna transition over to books. My headset turned off, I think, because no noise has been happening. Let me turn that back on. Where is the power button? Is this it? That is not the power button. Where is the power button? Oh, here it is. I found it. Alright, we're good. Oh wait, that is deafening for me, where I haven't heard anything, basically. Also, I don't know much about saints either, hence why I'm listening to Sean's book. If you want some recommendations for saint things, I need to get you a link. If you don't mind paying a little bit of money, there are some really, really, really good saint audio dramas that I definitely recommend. So you will hear repeats of voices once in a while. You'll be like, wait a second, I recognize that guy's voice from a different radio drama. But it's really good because they have a lot of sound effects and they have a lot of Sean didn't realize his book was on Spotify. These guys might be too. Oh, well, I hope he was getting money from Spotify. Yeah, I don't know if they're on Spotify. I know that they've been around for a really, really long time. As a kid, I know about them because our church sold cassette tapes of these. So my parents would buy the cassette tapes and they'd put them in the car back when cars had cassette tape players. And we would listen to them in the car on the way to school and on the way to church. But yeah, I can't think of any that was actually bad. The only one that I can think of that wasn't actually about a saint was there was one that was called Christian Soldiers. And that was about gang violence. So there wasn't a specific saint that it was about. It was a made-up story, I think. But it was still a good story. But yeah, these ones are really good because they're like, 2 hours long, so they have a lot of time to go into a lot of detail about the lives of each saint. And yeah, good voice acting. Well, voice acting. A lot of variety of voices, a lot of good background noises, and yeah, it's a good radio drama series, I think. Yeah, maybe they're on Spotify, I don't know. I gave him 900 bits since that was what his ebook costed, I think. He streams, so I paid him that way. Hey, nice. Nice. Hey, glad it worked out. Hey, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I'll have to look into that. Give me a link to a stream or something and I'll check it out. Maybe. I'm really bad about checking out streams that people send me. But there you go. They got a ton of them. Like, I don't even think all of their saint stories are on their website. Like, I was looking for one at one point and I couldn't find it. I don't know. Hey, thank you. Alright, cool. Hopefully he doesn't go live in the next, how long have I been live? An hour and a half. In the next hour and a half, yeah. Alrighty, well, thank you very much, Squirrelich. Let me know if you do actually listen to any of these, saint tapes, as I called them as a kid. But yeah. They got some good ones in there, I think. They got, like, the Story of Guadalupe, they got, Francis Cabrini, they got Saint Gerard, Magella, I think. They got like Noah's Ark, and they got Daniel in the Lion's Den, I think. They got, I'm trying to remember. Well, I'm sure they have it all on the website, maybe. Anyway. St. Clair, they got St. Clair CC. They got St. Dimphna. I always liked the St. Dimphna one as a kid because it was a really exciting adventure, being chased by bad guys, going on a big, not a quest, but escape. And that was always exciting to me. And then so I sent it to Calmage and he's like, Neb, this is so messed up. This girl is running away because her dad wants to marry her. And I'm like, you know what? Now that I think about it, that bit is kind of messed up. It never clicked with me as a kid. Like, exactly how horrifying it was. I was just like, oh yeah, she running away from the bad guys. But yeah, poor Saint Timna had a really messed up life. Anyway. Yeah. Her mom died, and her dad got really upset. was a really messed up story. But it was a true story. Like she's got a church, like, erected to her in Ireland somewhere, I think. Anyway, we haven't done much ASMR. Let's do more book stuff. Got a bunch of Warrior Cats books. Let's make some noises with them. I'm gonna move the microphone. Be warned, microphone being moved. Sorry, Squirrelage. So, the microphone in the description of the About section is actually the microphone I usually use for streams. You might notice, I mean, maybe you don't if you're not here very often, but you might notice the background is different. That is because I am not at my computer right now. I am at CalMage's computer, and I'm using his microphone because he actually has an ASMR microphone, and that microphone that's listed in the description is not an ASMR microphone. So that's why I'm on his background. That's why there's cats everywhere. That's why alerts aren't working. That's why I turned off all the redeems. That's why my model looks a little different. So yeah, the stuff in the description is the stuff I usually use, but not today. I have no idea. Try going to CalMage's stream and see if he has anything in his description about the microphones he uses. He is currently asleep, but if he wakes up before the end of the stream, I will ask him what microphone this is. It looks like it's Rode brand, RODE. And he says that it is not USB. Like he has like some fancy system that it plugs to, like it's analog instead of digital or something like that. I don't know. I'll definitely ask him if he wakes up before the end of the stream. Alright, cool. I'm moving the microphone again, and we're gonna go make more book noises. Yeah, sorry about that, Squirrelage. So it says dynamic low C. Like LO space C. And then after that it says sure SHURE. And then it says SM7B. There's a number 25 on it. I don't know if that means anything though. It might be just something else. But yes, it is road brand. The cable says Mogami, MOGAMI. I don't know if that means anything. Oh no, that's the cable. That's probably not nothing. I don't know. I have no idea what microphone it is. Oh, S. Devin. Hello. Welcome on into the stream. You just missed all of the book noises. Unfortunately, we will be making more of those later. But for now, I'm taking a break because my hands hurt from making so many book noises. Welcome on in. You are friends of the stream, so you already know the shtick. This is not normal for me. I do not normally do ASMR streams, so this is very unusual for me. Hermit raid, let's go. Thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate it. My name is Nebulux. I'm a safe for work, family friendly streamer. I normally do a lot of violent video games like Warframe. Today we are doing a ASMR stream because that is what one of the Subathon goals that we hit was. So, if you guys have joined in on the OS Devon raid, you are now obliged. Oh, I don't have my hands on CalMage's computer. You are now obliged to tell us what your favorite thing about OS Devon is. Why should everybody drop what they're doing and go drop him a follow? Plug him like your life depends on it. Alright, let me see. My CalMage was 14th nap of the day. Unironically, the other day, he slept for, I kid you not, I am not exaggerating this, 15 and a half hours. That is, you guys joke about him being a cat. He actually sleeps like a cat. Is CalMage actually just napping like he's expected to wake up again? I'll probably wake him up before I leave. He's probably not going to stay awake. I'm probably going to wake him up and he's going to say goodnight, babe, and then he's going to fall back asleep. I already know it. But hello to OS Devon. Hello to all the OS Devon readers. Welcome on in. SM7B. Yes, that is what it says. Oh, it's an expensive mic. Yo, I had no clue. Why does he have an expensive mic? What did he even use it before? Because he didn't get this for streaming. He already had it. What the heck? I'm currently breaking my neck. Please ignore. The tracking is a little wonky today, but oh well. Oh yeah, don't forget to check in if you guys haven't already. She has no Uno reverse card. It's true, I don't. Right now, I have no Uno to reverse card. I am defenseless. Omi needed some rest. Omi did not need 15 and a half hours worth of rest. Are you kidding me? I said goodnight, DLMage. I'm going to bed. And then the next day, I showed up at like, I don't know what time in the afternoon, and he was still asleep. From when I had left that last night, it was crazy. That would be my fiance, CalMage. So you might notice that my layout looks a little different today. You might notice that there's a little cat in the corner and a cat below me. That is because I am using CalMage's microphone sure he's all pretty for the wedding. Perhaps. Perhaps he all way birdie, though. If I remember correctly, he salvaged it. Oh, that would make sense, I guess. I have no clue. We're gonna have to ask him. What are we asking him? Oh yeah, we're asking him how he got his microphone. This is the closest we're going to get to Calmage stream. Oof. Squirrelage has given up all hope. Dang. He might stream again one day. He says we were just talking today, and he said that he missed streaming, so he might return to streaming eventually. Definitely not as regularly as he used to do it, but we can hold out hope for it. Oh. Mustache wants to know how you got this microphone. But like, why did you buy it? Because you didn't buy it for streaming, right?
No, I did.
You did? Oh, I thought you already had it before you started streaming.
I had another microphone, the pasta microphone
Oh.
that I already had, but I bought that one specifically for streaming.
Oh, okay. Thank you. He did in fact buy this microphone for streaming. He did not salvage it.
I salvaged the pasta mic.
Oh, he salvaged the pasta mic. Okay. Got you. Yeah, he awake. He has awoken. They miss you, Kelmage. He says he misses you too. I don't know if you can hear him. The ASMR microphone that I'm using does not pick up sound that's far away from it very well. I love that emote that you used, Mustache, though. That's a good emote. Anyway, yep, there you go. He has awoken. Who knows how long he'll stay awake, though. Alright, I need to get a drink. My throat is a little hoarse. So, I'm going to grab a beverage of some sort. Probably just water. Or juice or something. I'm not going to drink more alcohol. Yeah, it'll take me like 3 seconds to grab it. And I will be right back. Let's see if I can figure out the controls for pulling up the BRB screen. Bear with me for a second. I will be right back. Hopefully the music won't blare in. It might, actually. You know what? I don't want to risk the music blaring in and startling people if they're all a drink. I'll unpin this. Unpin. There we go. No, I don't think that's picking up me drinking. Probably for the best. Probably for the best. Alright. I will have some drinks now. But yes, for all the people who joined in the Ginseven raid, feel free to share what your favorite books are. This is a book stream. When you joined, I was not talking about books. But if you like to read, or you have any books you like listening to, or audiobooks, or books you read as a kid that had a lasting impression on your psyche, or something. Yeah. Books, thoughts, favorite books, favorite genres, favorite anything really about books. What kinds of bookmarks do you guys like using? I don't know. Summer reading programs, y'all. Summer reading programs were where it was at. I don't know, depending on the library, you often got free books. Free books, you guys. Heck yeah. Sign me up for those free books. I was all about it, especially lately. Well, when I was a kid, what you had to do was you had to read 20 books and then write them down on a list. Then you would get your free book at the end of the summer. But when I started becoming a teenager, they changed it. So then you would get a free book when you start the summer reading program. And if you read 10 books, then you get entered into some raffle. So it was I didn't even bother to turn in the raffle sheet. I just showed up and said, "Can I get a free book?" And they're like, "Sure." And I got my free book. And I'd go to multiple libraries. I would go to multiple libraries and get free books from them. Let's be honest. Thank you for the blessings, Ginseven. It's just a cough, though. No sneezing here. It's always so bad at the essay part. Got pizza parties at the library. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. We had to read 20 books, so we got to live. Navigating the public library system. Wow, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, if your library has a bookstore attached to it, that is the only place you should be buying books, because they sell them for $1 a book. It's wild. Because they're just selling reject books that they've had on the shelves for years, right? So they're old and beat up and whatever. They can't sell that at market value of 25 bucks a book. So I bought books at library bookstores for 25 cents before. It's amazing. Libraries are magical places, you guys. Support your local libraries. Not all libraries are gonna have bookstores that cheap, I suppose. But yeah, the one that I grew up with. Yeah. Or don't. Neb's not your mom. I guess. I mean, that's how I got into the Temporary book series. Was because I bought one of the books from the bookstore at a random library. I'm oh heck yeah, 25-cent book. Here we go. Bookstores used to have tons of books for 50 cents. Oh, I know, right? So good. Yeah, library. Because, nobody wants ancient library books. mini book swap things like in front of like mailboxes and stuff where people just have like a little shelf in front of their mailbox. It's the same premise. You take a book and you leave a book. And like those ones, they usually only have like 25 to 30 books or so you don't have a very large selection. So like none of them are very good in my experience. Like every time I show up for karate, I'd look at the books and be like, these are all trash. I don't want any of these. Versus library bookstores, like they got so much larger of a selection to pull from. I could always find one that I liked. I don't know, just me. Get those bundles at swap meets where the books essentially could be as cheap as a dime each. Yo, nice, 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 nice. Historical mustache proving himself a man of culture. Let's go, books. Have a drink. Here's to literature. Can't do that anymore. You probably just have to find the right place. I mean, yeah, it's probably not going to be as cheap as a dime, but I'm sure you can find relatively cheap books depending on where you look. I don't know. Goodwill, and thrift stores have, if they have a book section, they usually have really cheap books. There was a thrift store that I went to that I ended up like getting like 10 books from. I was spending ages browsing like in one. Like I only went there once and I came out with like 1,000,000 books. I was waiting. I was getting my car worked on down the street, and it was only going to be like an hour or two, and I didn't have a ride, so I'm like, I'll just walk down the street and see what they have. And there was a thrift store there, so I walked into the thrift store, and yeah, I bought a bunch of books. Thrift stores, yeah. It depends on how big they are, because if it's a small thrift store, they're not going to have a good selection, so it's got to be one of the bigger ones. Wasabi Cheetah, what's up? Welcome on in. Hope you're having a good one. Donated tons of books when I moved last. Now I'm down to 2 bookcases. Oof. The pain and misery. Really, oh man. That sounds like you have a lot of well-loved stories. Let's go. Drink another drink. It hurts. Oh yeah. I'm trying to scale down in preparation for moving with CalMage. And it's really painful because he's like, babe, you don't need this. Let's throw this away. And I'm like, no. What do you mean? I can't throw this away. How dare? So it's like definitely different. What is it? Priorities for things that should be kept and things that should be tossed. You know? He's like, babe, why do you have so many books? I'm like, why wouldn't I have so many books? Why don't you have more books? That's what I do to every move. Give away something I've collected over the years. Keeps me in check of hoarding. That's smart. That's smart. I definitely don't want to be a hoarder. As a kid, I very much was a hoarder. Very much. I don't think I've been as bad recently. Especially compared to how I was as a kid. But, yeah. Kelmage was like helping me go through some boxes a couple months ago, and I had to stop going through boxes with him because he's like, babe, why do you have this? Babe, why do you have this? What purpose does this serve? And I'm like, it's a fond childhood memento. And he's like, do we need fond childhood mementos? Bane Pecco. Tell him he'll give up the book if he gives up the catnip. Ooh. Good strategy. Good strategy. I told you guys, right? He does actually have a giant stash of catnip. I'm not memeing. I'm not joking. Actually, IRL, he has a stash of catnip for himself, not for Nahida. Right, because he got catnip tea that he would drink as a redeem on his streams. And he still has a ton of that left. And then we have actual catnip for Nahida, but not like nowhere near as much as the stash of catnip tea. Like, I tried it recently on stream. I don't think I like it that much, but then again, I'm not a cat boy. Sorry, just scooching in the chair. Alright. Nude is committed to the bed. Yep. How long have I been streaming? We still have a little bit of time. Where's my phone? What time did I start streaming? We still have like 30 minutes or so, I think. Where is the time? 26. So yeah, we have 30 more minutes. Yeah, 30 more minutes. Oh, yes. So Ginseven, almost 2 hours. So we had the first 30 minutes of the stream was us trying Mountain Dew over on my computer. And then when we had finished with that, then I moved over to CalMage's computer because it has the ASMR mic. So to do that, I had to end the stream and restart it. So the stream is actually 2.5 hours long. Because the first 30 minutes were not on the ASMR mic. Alright, let's see. I'm trying to think. Should we go back to book noises? What do you guys think? You want more book noises? You want to keep talking? Can you hear CalMage in the background? Probably not. I know if we were on my mic, you could probably hear him in the background, but not on this mic. Alright, yeah, I genuinely have a giant stack of warrior books next to my desk here. I can count them. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, I have 44 books right here. I don't know why I brought the entire stack over. I think if I was gonna like make noises for each one. I think I was gonna go through them and I was gonna talk about each one of the books. And I was gonna hold it up under the Grand Cam and be like, see, here's this book, and I would have shown you me doing the ASMR noises. I don't know what I was thinking. Because CalMage's microphone won't stretch all the way to the Grand Cam. And there's no way we could have gotten book noises on the ASMR mic and also showed them on the camera. So yeah, I brought all these, what did I say, 40 something books. Brought them all over here for no reason. I could have literally just brought like 2 books, a hardcover and a soft cover, and it would have been fine. You could read parts of them if you want. Okay, I know if I'm reading parts of books, should I read a chapter from Larklight or Dealing with Dragons? Because with those books, I used to have bedtime story redeems with them, and I disabled those redeems recently because nobody ever redeemed them, and I was trying to weed out redeems that no one uses so that I can make new redeems, like the Pet CalMage redeem. I still need to add that. Ginseven wants a meow. Alright, this will not be whispered. Be warned. Meow. There you go. Hopefully that sounded like a meow. Tipping out. Have a good night. Good night, Squirrelich. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for chatting with us about your audiobook selections. I much appreciate it. random chapter, first chapter, or favorite part of the book. Okay. In that case, favorite part of the book. Let's go. Let's pick a random book. Well, not random. I'm gonna look for Crooked Star's Promise. I'm gonna read the climax of that book then. Because that's a good book. I'm gonna spoil it for you guys. No, never mind. I'm gonna read book 6 of the Warrior Cats. So all of the books I have here are Warrior Cats books. I could go grab another book from my bookshelf. If you guys have any recommendations, say random words. And if it reminds me of a book, I think I have like the Ricky Ricotta's Mighty Robot books. I got Dragon Rider. I got a lot of dragon books. I got Garden of the Purple Dragon. I got a TF2. You guys, I have a Team Fortress 2 fanfiction that the person published as a book that I bought. So technically what it is the person wrote these fanfictions, and then since it's TF2 and it belongs to Valve, they can't actually charge for it. So what they did was they went to a book company that's for making like proofs of the book. So all you pay for is the cost that it costs this company to print the book, and nothing goes to the author. So because of that, they're not making any money off of it. So they made it available for print. So it's a 4-part series, and I bought the first 2 books mainly because when I bought them, the second and third book weren't out yet in print. They're actually genuinely really good fanfictions, and they're not weird. I mean, they're weird, but they're not like shipping weird, you know. They're just normal TF2 shenanigans weird. Okay. Your poor desk can't handle another book. Nice. Adds tiny book decks collapses. Nice. I see that emote mustache. You got them Warrior Cats collection. Nice. Got any books on grapes? I don't think I do. I'm trying to think of a book where it mentions grapes in the book. I don't know if any of my books mention grapes in them. Published fanfiction is weird by itself. Yeah. In my defense, they were good stories. You don't get Grapes of Wrath. I don't actually own Grapes of Wrath. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have not read Grapes of Wrath. My literary knowledge is lacking there. But yeah, so if you guys don't want me to read random things like TF2 fanfiction, I think what I'll read is I will read in the first, so like I was saying earlier in the stream, the Warrior Cats books have several series, and each series has 6 books in it. So this is book 6 of series number 1. So it's the climax of the first series. So the first series follows a house cat named Rusty, who joins a clan, and they change his name to Firepaw. And the way that the Warrior series, the way that the Warrior system works is apprentices have the last part of their name as Paw. So when they're babies, they're kids. Apprentices are Paws. When they become warriors, they get a warrior name. And then if they become leader, then they get Star. So if he were born naturally in the clan, it would be FireKit, Firepaw, Fireheart, which is what his warrior name ends up being, and then Firestar when he becomes leader. So in book 6, he becomes a leader. So I'm going to read the section of when he gets his 9 lives, because only the leaders get 9 lives, and so their ancestors, Star Clan, have a ceremony where the leader falls asleep in a sacred place, and he has a dream where the ancestors appear to him, and each means I require recharging and snacks. Gonna sit by the fire and relax. Much love. Alright, Steven, thank you for the raid. Thank you for stopping by. Have a nice relax by the fire. Take care, and thank you again for stopping by and hanging out with us for as long as you did. I appreciate it. Alright, let me find this section. I think it's at the beginning. Yeah, here it is. Okay. Okay. So, I'm going to start from halfway through or at the end of the previous chapter. And then we're gonna read the chapter where he gets his 9 lives. If you guys don't want me reading about a fictional cat getting 9 lives, like, please let me know. I can read from a different book. Nobody has expressed any unwillingness to listen to this chapter. So if you do not want to listen to this chapter, speak now or forever hold your peace. I can find a different book. We can read a different book. Alright, let me get comfy. Alright. Sounds good to me. Alright. Here we go. So the characters in this chapter are, there is Cinderpelt. Cinderpelt is the medicine cat. She used to be Fireheart's apprentice before she got hit by a car. She survived, but she wasn't able to hunt anymore, so she couldn't be a warrior. So she became a medicine cat. So she is leading him to the moon pool, which is the sacred place that I mentioned earlier, where he will fall asleep and receive his 9 lives. Alright, here we go. Warriors, the Darkest Hour by Aaron Hunter. This is chapter 3, at the very end of chapter 3. It's time, mewed Cinderpelt. All his misgivings coursed through Fireheart once again, and at first he thought his paws would not carry him, but he rose and began walking forward, the sharp stones biting into his pads, until he stood beneath the arch known to the clans as Mothermouth. A black tunnel yawned into darkness. From his previous visit, Fireheart knew that there was no point in straining his eyes to see what lay ahead. The blackness was unbroken all the way to the cavern where the moonstone lay. Oh, sorry, moonstone, not moon pool. That's somewhere else. As he hesitated, Cinderpelt stepped forward confidently. Follow my scent, she told him. I will lead you to the moonstone, and from now on, until the ritual is over, neither of us must speak. But I don't know what to do, Fireheart protested. When we reach the moonstone, lie down and press your nose to it. Her blue eyes gleamed in the moonlight. Starkland will send you sleep so you may meet with them in dreams. There was a forest full of questions that Fireheart wanted to ask her, but none whose answers would help him overcome the creeping dread he felt. He bowed his head in silence and followed Cinderpelt as she made her way into the darkness. The tunnel sloped steadily downward, and Fireheart soon lost a sense of direction as it wound back and forth. Sometimes the walls were so close together that his fur and whiskers brushed the sides. His heart thumped wildly, and he opened his mouth to draw in Cinderpelt's comforting scent, terrified at the thought that he might lose her. At last he realized that he could see Cinderpelt's ears outlined against a faint light ahead. Other scents began to reach him, and his whiskers twitched in a flow of cold, fresh air. A heartbeat later, he rounded a bend in the tunnel, and the light grew suddenly stronger. Fireheart narrowed his eyes as he padded forward, sensing that the tunnel had opened out into a cave. High above his head, a hole in the roof showed a chink of night sky. A shaft of moonlight shone through Fireheart and signaled to him with her tail to take his place beside the moonstone. Unable to speak, even if he could think of anything to say, Fireheart obeyed. He lay down in front of the stone, settling his head on his paws so that his nose touched the smooth surface. The cold was a shock so that he almost drew back, and for a moment he blinked at the light of the stars sparkling in the depths of the stone. Then he closed his eyes and waited for Starkland to send him to sleep. Chapter 4. All was darkness and cold. Fireheart had never been so cold. He felt as if every scrap of warmth and life were being sucked out of his body. His legs twitched as painful cramps clutched at them. He imagined that he was made of ice, and if he tried to move, he would shatter into 1,000 brittle fragments. But no dreams came, no sight or sound of Starkland, only the cold and the darkness. Something must be wrong, Fireheart thought, beginning to panic. He dared to open his eyes a narrow slit. At once they flew wide with shock. Instead of the shining moonstone in a cavern far below the ground, he saw short, well-trodden grass stretching away. Night scents flooded over him, of green, growing things moist with dew. A warm breeze ruffled his fur. Scrambling into a sitting position, Fireheart realized he was in the hollow at 4 trees near the base of the great rock. The towering oaks in full leaf rustled over his head, and silver pelt glittered beyond them in the night sky. How did I come here? He wondered. Is this the dream that Cinderpelt promised? He raised his head and looked up at the sky. He could not remember its being so clear. Silverpelt looked closer than he had ever seen before, scarcely higher than the topmost branches of the oaks. As Fireheart gazed at it, he realized that the scent, the blood as Fireheart gazed at it, he realized something that sent the blood thrilling through his veins like liquid fire. The stars were moving. They swirled before his disbelieving eyes and began to spiral downward, toward the forest, toward 4 trees, toward him. Fireheart waited, his heart pounding, and the cats of Starkland came stalking down the sky. Frost sparkled at their paws and glittered in their eyes. Their pelts were white flame. They carried the scent of ice and fire and the wild places of the night. Fireheart crouched before them. He could scarcely bear to go on looking, and yet he could not bear to look away. He wanted to absorb this moment into every hair on his pelt so it would be his forever. After a time that might have lasted 100 seasons or a single heartbeat, all the cats of Starkland had come down to earth. All around Fireheart, the hollow of 4 trees was lined with their shimmering bodies and blazing eyes. Fireheart crouched in the center, surrounded on all sides. He began to realize that some of the starry cats, those sitting closest to him, were achingly familiar. Blue Star. Joy pierced him like a thorn in the heart, and Yellow Fang. Then he drew in a familiar sweet scent and turned his head to see the tortoiseshell fur and gentle face that he had dreamed of so often. Spotted Leaf. Oh, Spotted Leaf. His beloved medicine cat had come back to him. Fireheart wanted to spring to his paws and yowl his joy to the whole forest, but awe kept him silent, still crouching. Welcome, welcome, Fireheart. The sound seemed to belong to all the cats Fireheart had ever known, and yet at the same time it was one clear voice. Are you ready to receive your 9 lives? Fireheart glanced around, but he couldn't see any cat speaking. Yes, he replied, forcing his voice not to shake. I'm ready. A golden tabby cat rose to his paws and strode toward him, his head and tail high. Fireheart recognized Lionheart, who had become Blue Star's deputy when Fireheart was still an apprentice, and who had died soon after in a battle with ShadowClan. He had been an old cat when Fireheart knew him, but now he looked young and strong again, his coat shining with pale fire. Lionheart, Fireheart gasped, is it really you? Lionheart did not reply. When he was close enough, he stooped and touched his nose to Fireheart's head. It burned against him like the hottest flame and the coldest ice. Fireheart Lionheart's instinct was to shrink away, but he could not move. With this life I give you courage, Lionheart murmured. Use it well in defense of your clan. At once a bolt of energy seared through Fireheart like lightning, setting his fur on end and filling his senses with a deafening roar. His eyes grew dark, and his mind filled with a chaotic swirl of battles and hunts, the feeling of claws raking against fur and teeth meeting in the flesh of prey. The pain ebbed, leaving Fireheart weak and trembling. The darkness faded, and he found himself in the unearthly clearing again. If that was one life received, he had 8 more to go. How will I bear it? He thought in dismay. Lionheart was already turning away, moving back to his place in the ranks of StarClan. Another cat rose and came toward Fireheart. At first, Fireheart did not recognize him, but then he glimpsed a dark, dappled coat and bushy red tail, and realized this must be Redtail. Fireheart had never met the ThunderClan deputy, who was murdered by Tigerstar on the very day Fireheart came to the forest as a kitty pet, but he had sought out the truth about his death and used it to prove Tigerstar's treachery. Like Lionheart, Redtail bowed his head and touched his nose to Fireheart's. With this life I give you justice, he mewed. Use it well as you judge the actions of others. Once more an agonizing spasm rushed through Fireheart, and he had to grit his teeth to stop himself from yowling. When he recovered, panting as if he had raced all the way back to camp, he saw Redtail watching him. Thank you, the former deputy meowed solemnly. You revealed the truth when no other cat would. Fireheart managed to nod in acknowledgement as Redtail went back to sit beside Lionheart again, and a third cat emerged from the ranks. This time, Fireheart's jaws dropped open when he recognized the beautiful Tabby, her coat glimmering with a silvery sheen. It was Gray Stripe's lost love Silverstream, the River Clan queen who had died bearing his kids. Her paws scarcely skimmed the ground as she bent down to him. With this life, I give you loyalty to what you know to be right, she meowed. Fireheart wondered if she was referring to the way he had helped Gray Stripe to see his forbidden love, trusting to the strength of their relationship even though it went against the warrior code. Use it well to guide your clan in times of trouble, Silverstream urged him. Fireheart braced himself for another agonizing pain, but this time there was less pain as the new life rushed through him. He was aware of a warm glow of love and realized dimly that this was what had marked out Silverstream's life. Love for her clan, for Gray Stripe, and for the kids she had died to give life to. Silverstream, he whispered as the silver-gray she-cat turned away again. Don't go yet. Haven't you any message for Gray Stripe? But Silverstream said nothing more, only glancing back over her shoulder, her eyes filled with love and sorrow that told Fireheart more than all the words she could ever say. He closed his eyes, preparing himself for the next life-giving. When he looked up again, a fourth cat was approaching him. This time it was Running Wind, the ThunderClan warrior who had been killed by Tigerstar in a fight near the Thunder Path. With this life I give you tireless energy, he meowed, as he bowed his head to touch Fireheart. Use it well to carry out the duties of a leader. As the life coursed through Fireheart, he felt as if he were racing through the forest, his paws skimming the ground, his fur flattened by the wind. He knew the exhilaration of the hunt and the sheer joy of speed, and he had the feeling that he could outrun any enemy forever. His gaze followed Running Wind as he returned to his place. When the fifth cat appeared, his heart gave a leap of joy. It was Brindleface, Cloudtail's foster mother, who had been cruelly slaughtered by Tigerstar to give the dog pack a taste for cat blood. With this life, I give you protection, she told him. Use it well to care for your clan as a mother cares for her kids. Fireheart expected this life to be gentle and loving like Silverstream's, crouched by his paws. Shocked and trembling, Fireheart recognized a mother's desire to protect her kits and realized how much Brindleface had loved them all, even Cloudtail, who was not her own. I must tell him, Fireheart thought, as the fury ebbed, before he remembered that he was bound to say nothing to any cat about what he had experienced in the ritual. Brindleface drew back to sit with the other cats of StarClan again, and another familiar figure took her place. Guilt washed over Fireheart as he recognized Swiftpaw. "I'm sorry," he murmured as he looked into the apprentice's eyes. "It's my fault you died." Angry at Bluestar's refusal to make him a warrior, and desperate to prove himself, Swiftpaw had gone out to track down whatever was preying on the cats in the forest. The dog pack had killed him, and Fireheart knew he would blame himself forever for not trying harder to make Bluestar change her mind. But Swiftpaw showed no anger now. His eyes shone with a wisdom far beyond his age as he touched his nose to Fireheart's. "With this life I give you mentoring. Use it well to train the young cats of your clan." The life Swiftpaw gave him was a pang of anguish so great, Fireheart thought it would stop his heart. It ended in a jolt of pure terror and a flash of light red as blood. Fireheart knew he was experiencing what Swiftpaw had felt in the last moments of his life. As it ebbed away, leaving Fireheart gasping, he began to feel like a hollow in the ground as rain falls into it and spills over. He thought that his strength would hardly sustain him to receive lives from the 3 cats that were still to come. The first was Yellowfang. The old medicine cat had the same air of obstinate independence and courage that had impressed and frustrated Fireheart in equal measure when she was alive. He remembered the last time he had seen her dying in her den after the fire. Then she had been in despair, wondering if StarClan would receive her even though she had killed her own son, Broken Tail, to put an end to his bloodthirsty plotting. Now the gleam of humor was back in her yellow eyes as she stooped to touch Fireheart. "With this life I give you compassion," she announced. "Use it well for the elders of your clan, and the sick, and all those weaker than yourself." This time, even knowing the pain he would have to bear, Fireheart closed his eyes and drank in the life hungrily, wanting all of Yellowfang's spirit, all her courage, and her loyalty to the clan that was not hers by birth. He received it like a tide of light surging through him. Her humor, her sharp tongue, her warm-heartedness, and her sense of honor. He felt closer to her than ever before. "Oh, Yellowfang," Fireheart whispered, his eyes blinking open again. "I've missed you so much." The medicine cat was already moving away. The cat who took her place was younger, stepping lightly, the sparkle of stars in her fur and in her eyes. Spotted Leaf, the beautiful tortoiseshell who had been Fireheart's first love. She had come to him in dreams, but he had never seen her as plainly as this since she had been alive. He breathed in her sweet scent as she bent over him. This cat, more than any, was the one with whom he wanted to speak, because the time they had had together had been too short to let them share their true feelings. "Spotted Leaf, with this life I give you love," she murmured in her soft voice. "Use it well for all the cats in your care, and especially for Sandstorm." There was no pain in the life that poured into Fireheart now. It held the warmth of the high sun in Greenleaf, burning to the tips of his paws. It was pure love. At the same time, he experienced the sense of security he had known as a tiny kit nuzzling his mother. He gazed up at Spotted Leaf, wrapped in a contentment he had never known before. He thought he caught a proud gleam in her eyes as she turned away, and his disappointment that she had not stayed to talk to him was mixed with relief that she approved of his new choice. Now he had no reason to fear that he was being unfaithful to Spotted Leaf in his love for Sandstorm. At last, Bluestar approached Fireheart. She was not the old defeated cat Fireheart had known recently, her mind giving way under the stress of her clan's troubles. This was Bluestar at the height of her strength and power, prowling toward him across the clearing like a lion. Fireheart was almost dazzled by the glory of starlight around her, but he forced himself to meet her blue eyes squarely. "Welcome, Fireheart, my apprentice, my warrior, and my deputy," she greeted him. "I always knew you would make a great leader one day." As Fireheart bowed his head, Bluestar touched him with her nose and went on. "With this life, I give you nobility and certainty and faith. Use it well as you lead your clan in the ways of StarClan and the warrior code." The warmth of Spotted Leaf's life had lulled Fireheart, and he was unprepared for the agony that shook him as he received Bluestar's. He shared the fierceness of her ambition, the anguish she had suffered when she gave up her kits, the ferocity of battle after battle in the service of her clan. He felt her terror as her mind fragmented and she lost her trust in StarClan. The rush of power grew stronger and stronger until Fireheart thought his pelt would never contain it. Just as he thought he must yell his pain or die, it began to ebb, ending in a sense of calm acceptance and joy. A long, soft sigh passed through the clearing. All the StarClan warriors had risen to their paws. Bluestar stayed in the center of the clearing and signaled with her tail that Fireheart should rise too. He obeyed her shakily, feeling as if the fullness of life inside him would spill over when he moved. His body felt as battered as if he had fought the hardest battle of his life, and yet his spirit soared with the strength of the lives he had been given. "I hail you by your new name, Firestar," Bluestar announced. "Your old life is no more. You have now received the 9 lives of a leader, and StarClan grants to you the guardianship of ThunderClan. Defend it well, care for young and old, honor your ancestors and the traditions of the warrior code. Live each life with pride and dignity. Firestar, Firestar." Just as the forest clans would acclaim a new warrior by name, so the cats of StarClan acclaimed Firestar in rich voices that tingled in the air. "Firestar, Firestar." Suddenly, the chanting broke off with a startled hiss. Firestar tensed, aware that something was wrong. Bluestar's glowing eyes were fixed on something behind him. He spun around and let out a choking cry. A massive hill of bones had appeared at the other side of the clearing, many tail lengths high. It shone with an unnatural light, so that Fire could see each separate bone, edged as if with fire. The bones of cats and the bones of prey, all jumbled together. A hot wind swept over him, bearing the reek of carrion, even though the bones gleamed white and clean. Firestar gazed wildly around him, seeking help or answers from the other cats, but the clearing was dark. The cats of StarClan had vanished, leaving him alone with the terrible hill of bones. As Firestar felt panic welling up inside him, he sensed the familiar presence of Bluestar by his side, warmer fur pressed against his flank. He could not see her in the darkness, but her voice whispered in his ear. "Something terrible is coming, Firestar. 4 will become 2. Lion and tiger will meet in battle, and blood will rule the forest." Her scent and the warmth of her fur faded away as she finished speaking. "Wait," Firestar yowled. "Don't leave me. Tell me what you mean." But there was no reply, no explanation of the dreadful prophecy. Instead, the red light that gleamed from the hill of bones glowed brighter. Firestar stared at it in horror. Blood had begun to ooze out between the bones. The trickles merged into a river that flowed steadily toward him, until the stench of blood clung to his fur. He tried to flee and found his paws were fixed in place. A heartbeat later, the sticky red tide was washing around him, gurgling and reeking of death. "No," Firestar yelled, but there was no response from the forest, just the steady whisper of blood lapping hungrily at his fur. That's the end of the chapter. Chapter 5 starts with the line of Firestar jolted awake in terror, so that's also the end of his vision. He and Cinderpelt leave the cavern, and then once they leave the cavern, he talks to Cinderpelt about that last part, and she says, "Oh yeah, I was watching the ceremony too. That last part was not a normal part of the ceremony. That was a vision. StarClan is warning you about something that's going to be happening in the future." And that's the hook for this last gets into the plot of the book. I probably should have stopped after he received his last life, but oh well. There you go. That was the ceremony of a leader getting his 9 lives. Alright. I don't know. What did you guys think? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Alright, we are at the 3-hour mark. It is 1 exactly. We are 1 minute over time. That was a perfect length, I guess. We are gonna find out what we're gonna raid. Should have gone for 18 lives. No. Cats have 9 lives. You know this. Surprisingly enjoyable. I hope you guys weren't thrown off by the fact that you didn't know any of these people who were giving him lives. I mean, most of them had explained. Swiftpaw, it explained that Firestone felt responsible for his death, etc., etc. So it wasn't super out of the blue, like, oh, who are these people? Like, the books are, at least the very first series, books 1 through 6, are genuinely enjoyable, and I would recommend them. If you want to read later books, that's up to you. Some of them are great, some of them are not so great. Again, one of my favorites is Crooked Star's Promise. Standalone super editions are usually really great too, and they are definitely the first series the books go. Book 1 is Into the Wild. Book 2 is Fire and Ice. Book 3 is Forest of Secrets. Book 4 is Rising Storm. Book 5 is A Dangerous Path. And Book 6, which is the book we were reading from, is The Darkest Hour. So yeah, the first series follows Firestar as he joins the clan from being a house cat. And they take him in, and he fulfills some prophecies, and he rises up the ranks, and he becomes deputy, and in this book he becomes leader. So yeah, it is definitely cheesy melodramatic. It's a lot of fun. Crooked Star, yes. So all of the leaders have the star suffix. He was called Crooked Star because when he was a warrior, his name was Crooked Jaw, because he had a deformity in his mouth. I think it wasn't a natural deformity. I think he got injured as a kitten, and it made his jaw twisted. So he was called Crooked Paw, Crooked Kit, stuff like that. But he's actually not a bad guy. In the first series, he's the leader of a clan that is not the clan that Firepaw belongs to. So, I mean, he's a rival leader, but he's not an antagonist. He's not a bad guy. I was about to say the man's name is Crooked, and you're going to believe a promise from him. But if it's because of his jaw, I gotcha. Yeah, no, it was a good book because I liked it. Anyway. Yeah, a lot of the super editions are really good. Like, there are 2 super editions that are focusing on the fact that, there was a mysterious 5th clan that left the forest when humans built a neighborhood in their territory and they didn't have anywhere else to go, and the forest couldn't support them, so they found a new home. And, Firestar goes out and he finds the descendants of that clan and he helps them remake the clan and stuff. Those are some good super editions, I think. I don't know. Orc, hello. Welcome on in. Why are you whispering? Are you in a hostage situation? No, I'm whispering because this is the ASMR stream. We were doing some book noises. I just finished reading a book. Yeah, we did a lot of these kind of noises earlier in the stream. Stuff like that. So yeah, ASMR streams are supposed to be calm and gentle and soothing and not me screaming like a gremlin like how I normally do. Thank you for streaming. Have a great night. God bless. No, you, mustache. No, you have a great night. God bless. Thank you for hanging yikes, there's actually like a ton of people live that I'm following. Give me a second to read through the list. It's I gotta scoot over. 1 second. Alright, I'm back. Alright, I started the raid. We're gonna be raiding Free Assist Lane. She's a, I believe, Plague Doctor VTuber. She just started a Just Chat and stream. Alright, there you go. So you have the first message if you are not subscribed. That is universal across all of Twitch. The second message is if you are subscribed, you can copy and paste it like how I did on CalMage's account right now. Feel free to spam that. I hope you guys have a good raid. I'm probably gonna start it early, fair warning. Please, I don't know if. Oh wow, we got 13 people watching. Yo, well, I hope all 13 of you enjoyed. Excuse me, enjoyed the ASMR stream and enjoyed hanging out with us here today. It is definitely not my usual content, so I'm very happy that so many of you decided to stick around for it. I'm going to be heading out. I will be on hiatus. Okay, I had some announcements I needed to make. I will resume the raid in a second. But the announcements are, this is my last scheduled stream before I go on hiatus. So, I might stream on Thursday, but that is a big maybe. No promises. So, yes, I will be going on a big hiatus. And I'm not going to be coming back until maybe the week or two before Christmas. Hello, Dragonkin, welcome on in. Unfortunately, you got us right as we're about to raid out. Feel free to copy and paste a raid message if you like. Okay, you're just kidding. Alright, nice. So yes, yes, so this is the last scheduled stream. Yeah, I might have one on Thursday, I might not. I haven't decided yet. We will see how that ends up going. But this is the last scheduled stream before hiatus. So, if I don't see you on Thursday, I will see you guys. I'm just gonna talk really quietly, to try to ease you guys back in to noises happening. Because it's probably going to be a lot louder in the stream that we're about to read. So, yeah, if I don't see you guys on Thursday, I want you guys to know that, thank you for being a great community. Thank you for supporting CalMage, and I thank you for still supporting me. Like, there's all that scare about people who are like, oh, if the VTuber is dating someone, we don't want to watch him anymore and stuff. But like, here I am, public about being in a relationship with CalMage and public about that we're gonna be married soon, and you guys are all cool with that. You guys are awesome. You guys are like such a good community, and I'll miss you guys. And I'll try to be active in the Discord, but no promises. You guys are awesome. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Calamage and I really appreciate you guys, seriously. Yeah, we were gonna be married during the hiatus, so well, the next time I stream, assuming I don't stream Thursday, next time I stream I will be yeah, we'll be married, so that's exciting. But yeah, we'll be thinking of you guys during the hiatus, and I hope that you guys have a lovely Christmas season, and I'll see you afterwards. I'll see you either the week before Christmas, the week of Christmas, the week after. I don't know yet. Sometime around then. But I'll see you then. Let me start the raid again. Alright. The raid is happening. Thank you again, everybody. Take care. I'm gonna repost the raid messages and then we're heading out. Oh, did I spell it wrong? There we go. Alright, you guys take care. I will see you after the hiatus. Now remember, if you're ever sad that you can't kill anybody IRL, just know you can always kill them with kindness. I'll see you out around, guys. This isn't goodbye forever, just goodbye for now. Have a great Christmas season, and have a